recording. 02 1 1 4 6 5 5 2 8. Nice. Do you want to get Ross? Do you want to get Ross for Fletch?
Oh, yep.
Doing the same thing again.
Yeah.
Where is he?
Just have a look down there.
Fuck.
Oh, it's got.
Fletch is calling.
I don't swing.
Hi Dave, it's Bishop, Matt and Fletch here. How are you? We're from the New Zealand Broadcasting School.
Hey, you guys, all right?
Yeah, no, we're pretty good. How's your day been?
Yeah, not too bad, Not too bad. Although my partner in crime was crook this morning, so
Oh no.
had to do the show by myself, which is always a bit of a bastard, but never mind.
So basically, our task for today is we're doing professionalism. So professionalism around the workplace and like how it affects you as like a industry professional. So the first question is, what does professionalism mean to you in your role? Like as a breakfast presenter, do you act different than you are on air around the office, or does that affect the way people perceive you around the office?
Well, we like to think we're gods and we rule the place, to be honest. But no, we look. You all work as a team. You know, that's the biggest thing. You know, we're kind of the ones that are out in front. You know, and the odd time on a billboard or whatever. But you know, you're only as good as your team around you. So you've got to, you know, just basically not be ego-driven or anything like that. You know, the people at the front desk of the radio station are just as important as us. You know, that's the way I've always sort of maintained it and looked at it.
So really just try not to be a dick to all the people that don't work in the studio.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Just
Because you will get shot down
Yeah.
fairly quickly.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, it's Matt here. I got another question for you. Is there ways you would act differently around the office than you would on air, or even with mates? I guess it's kind of the follow-up. Like, do you know, when you're with your mates, are you the same person on air, or do you have, when you walk into the office, are you like, I need to be more professional today?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, look, you always try and be true to yourself. I mean, I think trying to fake it on air, I mean, I know there's the odd saying, fake it till you make it, but you get caught out eventually, you know. You've got to be true to yourself, and a lot of personalities on air, you know, what you hear is what they are, and I like to think that's pretty much me. So, you know, you're prepared to have, you know, a bit of a laugh and make a bit of a dick of yourself, and that's pretty much what I'm about, you know, when I'm off the radio as well, you know. You know, you're out with mates or that kind of thing, you can make a bit of a fool to yourself.
I suppose in
of
that
yourself.
sense, your professionalism kind of carries into your personal life for those people that recognise you as a radio personality. When you're in public, you kind of still have to uphold that standard, you'd say. Yeah,
of course you do, absolutely, you know, and, you know, there's the odd time where certain things have happened that, you know, you hear about publicly where announcers or whatever have got themselves into a little bit of hot water. So you've got to be careful out in the public, and half the time, you know, I mean, for example, with Brodie and myself, you know, I mean, she's got a far more public profile than I have, having worked on TV and all that sort of thing. But even for me, you just never know who, you know, will recognise you. You know, they might be someone that's been in the crowd at the rugby while we've been in seeing the game, and they go, oh, that's that guy from, you know, the radio station or whatever, and
yeah.
Here you are rolling down the street on a Friday night, pissed as anything. You know, you just can't do it. You can't. Yeah. You've just got to be very careful, you know. Eh? What was that, sorry?
There's a time and a place sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, you know, and your mates around you, you know, they can be quite protective of you, which is nice as well, you know, and you only sort of make sure that you're making a fool of yourself when you know you're in a safe environment, you know.
Yeah, that's it, eh? This is Fletch, and I just got a quick question here. So, why do you think professionalism is important in a work environment? So, like, how would you see that as good as on a day-to-day basis, you know, in the work environment?
Well, for us, I mean, I guess if you're not professional, and you know, when you say professional, I guess there's all different things that go underneath that word. Everything from, you know, being punctual and pulling your weight. You know, if you're in a team environment like we are with our breakfast show, You've got to be, pulling your weight and contributing and doing all that sort of thing. I mean, it's vital. At the end of the day, there's so much competition in our industry that if you're not professional, there's there's plenty more people who want your job.
Yeah,
exactly. And you've got to maintain that professionalism and work as hard as you can and try and be as successful as you can. Otherwise, if there's not someone else knocking on the door, which there always is, even just for your own success when it comes to ratings, you don't get the longest opportunity if you're not rating too well before, you'll get a knock on the door and someone's saying, actually, we want to move you on. Put this person in. So, I mean, that's just the nature of the game, which we all know. But, that's a huge part of trying to maintain being professional and doing a bloody good job,
Yeah, 100%.
How would you approach a situation where someone is acting unprofessionally, or maybe inappropriately in the workplace?
Well, I guess you give a little bit of, for our part of our, job in the radio station, I guess because we've got fairly out there personalities at times, that there is the odd time when you think, oh, geez, you might have overstepped the mark. So every now and then, I don't think is an issue, but if it's a constant, say they're out on the booze at night or something and they're turning up and they're half hungover still, I mean, if that became a regular thing, then you would definitely pull them up and say, hey, listen, you're not pulling your weight here and you're not working as a team. And I think other people in the group would do that as well. I mean, I expect them to give as much to the job as what I give. And they probably expect the same from me as well. So as I say, if you're lucky enough to be in a team environment, particularly for a breakfast show, I think, it's vital that you're all trying to, as I said before, pull your weight. And if you're not, then you call that person to account,
Yeah. All right. It's Matt here again. You kind of touched on this a little bit, but what would you say are the consequences of a lack of professionalism in the industry? And kind of off that, could you think of something maybe early in your career that you may have got called out for being slightly unprofessional that you've worked on as you've stayed in the industry?
Yes.
This would be
okay. Well, there's a couple that spring to mind. One of them is when I was working in Timaru, and the person I was working with, we had an absolutely amazing year, and we had our first survey of the year. We went up so many points, and I said to her, if we go up that much next time, I'll run naked through the oxygen. So lo and behold, we actually had exactly the same survey result the second time round. So I was true to my word, and about bloody 9:30 on a Friday night, ran completely stark through the oxygen. Well, the trouble was there was a few people that actually saw that and put two and two together that, that's the radio guy sort of thing.
Almost could have worn a mask.
But I mean, look, don't get me wrong, mate. I've done naked things on air over the years, but it's been on the air. This was completely off air. It was just this random idiot running through the oxygen completely naked. So that was one. And another time, again, alcohol. Just being a bit of an idiot in Timaru when I was working there. This is way back in doing sort of commando rolls down the main street. And
what happens in Timaru stays in Timaru, eh?
Well, yeah, but the trouble was being a small town and it's when you get clients, when you get advertisers who go, oh, Jesus, there's that guy that we're sponsoring the show with. You know what I mean? And that's where you've got to be very careful in your, I guess, private life or whatever that you are maintaining standards.
So it's not really any publicity is good publicity situation.
Yeah.
No, well, in that sense, not so much, But
it's more of a jockey ad promotion.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, very good.
So do you have a horror story about a new addition to the team or an intern that has a noticeable lack of professionalism?
Not really, Not off the top of my head. I know there's been a couple of times when, I shouldn't say this, but Broads has had a couple of good Sunday nights, shall we say, when she's turned up on a Monday, a little worse for wear. But I mean, that's all. That's cool. That happens once in a blue moon. But I mean, with her being relatively new to the radio breakfast side of things, there's been a couple of times. But no, there's no real absolute shocker that I can think of off the top of my head.
That's good then.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Good to hear.
Until you two come along.
Yeah, exactly. when on social media, do you have to watch what you post and the way you interact with the media? Like, as we all know, that social media has grown so much now, and if there's any sort of platform that makes you really, really vulnerable, it would be probably social media. So how have you kind of dealt with that?
Well, I kind of steer away a wee bit from it. Like I don't do a lot on Instagram or anything like that. But you're absolutely right. The the way you conduct yourself, if you're a so-called influencer, as a lot of the radio people have kind of become, with all their followers and that, you've definitely got to be very careful. But I mean, again, I use Brody as an example. Like Brody is hugely over her Instagram and that kind of thing. She's not shy in posting if she's out on the town or stuff like that, and that's her brand, and that's the thing you've got to weigh up, I guess, is what is your on-air brand, and are you going to be true to that brand even in your social media as well? But there are again there'd be limits to what she does too, but she is quite liberal with it. Like she's been absolutely trashed as anything on Instagram, when she's doing her little stories and that kind of thing. But she doesn't mind, and that's her. And people follow her because they love that. She's not just all about the kind of health and fitness thing that she sort of promotes a lot as well. So, yeah, it is. Look, it's a catch-22. I guess that's the key to it, though. You've just got to be true to yourself.
Yeah, that's it.
When it comes to your social media.
Who do you think? Who are the people responsible if you stuff up on air?
Well, immediately it's our PD at the radio station. So
would they come running in if you for example, if you swore or?
Probably not running in because you're probably aware of it yourself straight away. But if you overstep the mark, you're definitely in the meeting after 9 o'clock. You'd be told. A lot of good PDs will always just leave you alone while you're on air, unless it's an exceptional thing that, you've gone completely rogue all of a sudden. It's got to pull you off air. But generally they'll wait till you get off air.
Okay, the old Sheila Dick shit.
And bring it up.
Yeah.
I mean, in the first instance, it's your immediate boss here. I mean, it would be the big boss, the overall content director up in Auckland. And then from there, of course, the CEO, because he's obviously got shareholders who are the big stakeholders in the company and that kind of thing. So, yeah. But, I mean, in the first instance, it's basically our guy here, our PD.
Yeah. I suppose you don't want to go too high up that list because that's when your job might be getting in trouble.
Oh, no, you certainly don't.
Oh, no.
Right. Well, thank you for kind of discussing the professionalism with us. We've got maybe a couple more personal questions about more going into the industry.
Sure.
As students, what do you think might be the biggest shock for us when we start in the industry?
Just how hard it is.
Okay.
It's tough. It is.
Demanding,
Yeah, like you think, oh, geez, and I don't know what you guys want to, specialise in, but if it's on air, and that's where I feel for you guys, because like when I first started, there were so many more opportunities. With men having to go to a smaller market like a Timaru or whatever, but as you guys probably know, there aren't as many jobs now, and you get your interns and away you go. But when you get your foot in the door, you just have to work your asses off, And it may not be the most glamorous jobs first up, or you might be bloody well, dare I say it, tossing bloody sausages on a barbie down at some client promotion or whatever, right? But you've just got to do that in the early stages.
Definitely.
Because it's amazing how many people get in the industry and, a year and a half to 2 years, they go, this is too hard. You know what I mean? It's too hard to work.
So really got to stick it out for quite a bit.
You do. You do, mate. And in particular, another division, obviously, in the radio station is the sales department.
Yeah.
And when you get young reps coming in, half the battle is just longevity and staying in it because you'll eventually get those clients. And it is tough to begin with, but you hang in there long enough, and then, someone with a bit of experience in the sales department might leave, so you get some of their clients, and then you're kind of away,
Yeah, I suppose you've kind of just answered our sort of last question is what would be the most important advice you'd give to like a new broadcaster or for any of us, going into the industry? But I suppose it's probably is working hard and sticking.
It is, and just be prepared to do anything and everything, and even the more different things you can do in terms of strings you've got on your bow, so to speak. It makes you more valuable to an employer. So if you can do, when you first start out, it might be doing an OB or doing the crosses or whatever. But then, you might then learn the gear. So there might be some time when the breakfast team goes out and they need someone to work the panel.
Yeah.
So you know how to work all the gear, for example.
Exactly.
So that you can keep doing all these different things. And then maybe if you went to, I don't know, if you went to, say, Auckland, we don't schedule any of our music now, but if you went to Auckland, you might know the music scheduling system, for example. So you've got all these different kind of things that you can do, and you can put your hand up and go, hey, give me a go, I can do that.
Yeah. It's about being broad almost, like being broad into and open-minded and into anything.
Absolutely.
Any situation.
Yeah, totally. You know, and you know, I know when I first started, I did copywriting for sort of 3 days a week, and then I did a couple of weekend air shifts. Yeah. So that's how I first started. So you kind of had that copy area you could go down, or you could do the on-air thing, and then the on-air thing sort of became full-time. So that would be the most and best advice I would give is just be prepared to work your asses off and stick at it, and you'll get to where you want to go.
Bloody good advice as well. Bloody good advice.
I tell you what, everyone you talk to really paints this beautiful image of how great this industry is, but how hard we have to work. So.
Well, I mean that's the thing, mate. Look, it's the greatest job in the world, eh? But when you first get in, and no, don't get me wrong, even when you first get in, it's bloody awesome.
Yeah.
But it is hard work, eh? You know, there's a lot of sacrifice for weekend stuff and
definitely
and whatnot. I mean, even for us, even if you know, you guys eventually got onto breakfast, you'll soon learn. Like on a Friday when we finish the show, we pretty much get out the door straight away because that's it. We don't have any meetings scheduled for a Friday or anything. You know, the week's over kind of thing. But the flip side is Sunday afternoon. We're bloody well, you know, Facebook messaging each other and all that kind of stuff of ideas and topics for the next day and thrashing stuff out. I mean, the other day we came in Sunday, obviously after the terror shootings. So we're in at work Sunday afternoon, you know, and it's just stuff you've got to do. So people don't realise, you know, you sacrifice a bit of your Sunday, even though you're not on air. You know, so just stuff like that. You just got to work hard and hopefully it'll all come to you. But I admire you guys, bloody well, wanting to have a crack, wouldn't you?
Thank you.
Brave.
Well,
are you guys, for what year are you guys? Your first year or what?
First years, yeah.
We're just learning how to make phone calls from a studio today, so we're not recording this on a phone.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, congratulations, you're our first phone call.
Hey!
Yeah, there you go, mate.
Well, thanks, Dave, for the interview. Really appreciate that. Have a good day,
worries,
I guess.
Yeah, it's been awesome, mate. It's
Yeah.
been you've had some bloody good insight for us, and good to prepare with a good sense of knowledge for sure.
Sweet. Yeah, no, not a problem, guys. Best of luck, eh?
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you
awesome,
very much.
mate.
Okay,
Cheers.
see
You have a
you
good one,
later.
bro.
Bye.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Ciao.
Bye.